There's one young man in South Africa, I think he may be in Zimbabwe now or somewhere, who came to me some time back and said he has started preaching Christ now. He wants to preach only Christ, Christ only, nobody but Christ only. And he started what he called a movement. Then it started biting hard. He started fighting all the false prophets and everybody he could attack. And things became dry. When things became dry, he reached out to me. And when he reached out to me, he started looking for how I can assist him. I assisted him a few times financially. I sent him money just to encourage him. He said, because I'm no more preaching those other things, now things are so tough and I'm getting tempted to go back. I said, no, don't go back. So this young man said, no, I want to preach Christ. I want to preach Christ. But I looked at him. In fact, he even told me he wants to come to Uyo and just stay under me and do anything I want him to do. I said, no. Instead of you coming to Uyo, you say you don't have money for you and your mother and your family people. You people are struggling from rent. I paid their rent for them.
You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription and God bless you. Shalom.
All right, we are going to listen to Abel Damina on the message that you are seeing on the screen. Just facing me here now. You see, Jay Israeli has been bashing Abel Damina recently. The soap opera, the miracle soap opera has kind of resurrected even both the dead and the semi-dead, and those who have been suffering from kwashiorkor they have used the soap, and then somehow the thing has developed. It is now a drama, sort of. Okay, so Jay Israel decided to join himself in the fray, and I just did a video on that just a few minutes ago. I want to beg you, before you make your comment on my video, please be sure that you have watched the video, because some persons, sometimes, you see, there is a kind of comment you make, let me face you, after that we'll watch the video, right? Now, there's a kind of comment you will make in a video, and when some persons have finished watching the video, they will think that you are not normal. Not me saying it, but what you write, that what you wrote down as your comment will depict you as somebody that is needing help, and nobody would know how to help you, because your discussion is quite different and strange to what is being discussed. A lot of you come with, prejudicial mindset. You already know what you think you already know what I want to say, so you just come and dump your comment on the under the video, and then you move. And some person will look at it like, this person needs help. Please don't comment if you have not watched. At least before you talk about me or you address me, listen to me first. Even if I sounded stupid, listen to me first, and then tell me, Manny, you sound stupid in this video. That will be fairer than that you didn't listen to the video. Some of you just, click on the link, 1 second you are off, but you drop something. I don't understand. We are not in a warfield anyway. So this video here that you're about to watch is strange enough. I found it on Jay Israel's Facebook page, because since he is back now, since he has resurrected, since the soap opera has raised him, and he has joined in the opera. Now I was looking for something, so I went to his page. Now I found this one that Abel Damina spoke. This is not the first time I am uploading Abel Damina's message, and the ones I agree with him on. So watch and see my understanding about this. Where I will criticize him, I will. And where I will say he is saying the truth, I will. And like I will always, put forth, it's not enough for you to come and bash me. Bring the Bible, even though that your pastors, they quote Bible. So when I bring my own Bible interpretation and juxtapose it with what your pastor, your prophet has said, if you think I'm wrong, tell me from the context how wrong I am. Not just bandying words and throwing shades and tantrums and making statements that actually don't tally with what we are saying. You hate him. And I know that just hearing this one now, you will not watch again. You just go and type rubbish, and then you fall into the category of the persons I have addressed earlier in this video. So, well, anyway, for the good people, those that love God, thank you very much. I cannot stop appreciating you, and God bless you all. Even though you are a hater, may God bless you too. And may God bless you with wisdom, most importantly. And they give you a mind of your own so that you'll not be thinking through the mind of your pastor and your prophet. God bless you. So let us listen to Abel Damina.
See, when you decide to worship an idol, what you're telling God is, I don't recognize you. So God will have to stay away. Look at me, everybody. An idol worship here doesn't have to do with going to the village or going to the bush to pursue a shrine. Idol worship can be worship of money. Mammon is an idol. That's why you cannot worship God and mammon. And you know, one of the problem a lot of young men who are saying they want to preach Christocentric message have is the fact that they have not defeated mammon. So when they start preaching the Christocentric message and it begins to bite, because you can't be preaching Christ and be chasing money in the gospel. You can't be preaching Christ and be using the same Bible to extract money from people. It will not work. All right? Christ is light. He will expose you yourself. So when they now start the Christocentric message and they start preaching Christ has finished it all. Christ has finished the work. You are saved. You are justified. Then they don't find scriptures to twist and collect money. And then they begin to go through a trying time, because in ministry you will go through a trying time where God will check your motives. He will check your intentions. He will check your conviction. You're not hearing me. He will check your motive, your intention, and your conviction. And if you're a minister of the gospel watching, this will help you.
Okay, come closer, so that you can hear me. All right? Yeah, move closer. All right. Now, one thing I want to tell you is that, you see, if you are just maybe even 1 year old in this channel, you may not understand where we have been coming from. When J. Israel started his campaign, now this is the context. The other one you heard was the intro to this, to this message, and it is important so that you will pay attention and you know why Abel Damina had to bring an example. He gave an example. And so when J. Israel began his campaign, I am, by the grace of God, I may not have a Signs and Wonders, Mountain and the Valley, Thunder, Fire and Brimstone International Prophetic Ministry. Because if I have had that, a lot of you who are bashing me will not be disrespecting me. And so because you think I don't have a voice, because you think I don't have any platform, sort of, you think you can, insult and even sometimes assault me, but that is not it's not as important as what I'm doing. So when J. Israel came out with his campaign, I was one of the few voices that I defended him, but I was also very, very tough on him. Not as tough as Solomon anyway. Solomon was the toughest on him. And eventually Solomon was actually justified, right? Those of us were kind of concerned that he had no roots. He just came out and started doing that, and we knew that what he was doing was okay. He was telling the truth, at least at some stages, but it got to a point where his activities became, criminalized. Let me use that word. I don't know if it is offensive, but that was, the thing that Jay started doing. In fact, he started mixing things up, started collecting money, started setting people up, started, blackmailing people. Now, and I said in one of my videos then, even though that I had to delete everything, every one of the videos I made in those days because of copyright strikes, I said in one of the videos that J. Israel, I hope he counted the cost before embarking on this journey, because it is a journey where at some point in time you feel so lonely. And he had this way of being manipulative, this way of, coming out to the public, because you see, if Jay had continued consistently with what he was doing and in righteousness, he would have gained a lot of genuine followership, because what he was saying was resonating with so many people who have been offended and wronged and heartbroken in the church. Okay? So, but unfortunately, he did not continue. And because he did not continue, that was a problem. Because he did not continue, because the high life he lived, has not been tamed. And that is why I love this video when I listened to it. I said, wow, if this has been the message of this man, if this is the way to preach about Christ, this is the way to preach about Christ, not adding so many other things that controvert and contradicts even what you have said earlier. Because when you say things that are not real and true about the Bible, you are going to desecrate other verses and portions of the Bible in order to validate what you're saying, like so many others, but that is not necessary anyway. So this is the context. So you now listen to what happened. So I do not know whether this was what J. Israel saw that triggered him to come out, and he has promised he's going to do about up to 10 series on Abel Damina and probably Arome Osayi. So sorry. I hope you are paying attention, all right? Pay attention, pay closer attention. This one, I'm enjoying this one. I'm liking it, so I would like you to hear this one. When it comes to the ones I don't want you to listen to, I will tell you, this one is not misleading. This is very, very good. Hey, stop hating now. All right, Abel, let us ride.
He will test your convictions, your motives, and your intentions over a period of time to see whether you are really convinced about this message. If you are not, you start twisting the slang. How many of you have seen some of them out there? 1 minute they are preaching Christ, another minute they look for a way to say, but you have to sow a seed. You have to sow a seed. How can Dr. Damina say you cannot sow a seed? You have to sow a seed. Okay? Then they shift, they go back, they come forward. They are talking from two sides of their mouth. There's no genuine conviction. And some of them shift like that because they are trying to please people in the materialistic gospel circle so that they can be invited to preach, so they can get small offering. So their convictions are not genuine. 1 minute they will preach because they have fluency and oratory. They will shout like us. They will teach like us. Then they will twist. So you can see them shifting forward and backward because they are not persuaded. They are not persuaded.
Mr. Damina, this your us. Can you tone it down a little bit before, very soon now, your people say I'm hating on you. Stop attributing it to yourself. You are not a perfect preacher. And you are not even the standard. Jesus is the standard. I have not said you are wrong from what you are saying, but this us, preaching like us, speaking like us, preach the Bible. That they are preaching the Bible, not preaching like you. Okay? I just want to give you that as advice.
There's one young man in South Africa, I think he may be in Zimbabwe now or somewhere, who came to me some time back and said,
so now let us listen to him. You see where he was coming from, and this was how he brought J. Israel in. So now I will start it all over again from where he started. Let's go there.
There's one young man in South Africa, I think he may be in Zimbabwe now or somewhere, who came to me some time back and said he has started preaching Christ now. He wants to preach only Christ only, nobody but Christ only. And he started what he called a movement. Then it started biting hard. He started fighting all the false prophets and everybody he could attack. And things became dry. When things became dry, he reached out to me. And when he reached out to me, he started looking for how I can assist him. I assisted him a few times financially. I sent him money just to encourage him. He said, because I'm no more preaching those other things. Now things are so tough and I'm getting tempted to go back. I said, no, don't go back. Let's assist you. But while I was doing that, I discovered there would be a problem. Because number one, he was still in this flamboyancy. He still had this greed. He is asking for money, but he was still looking for how to wear designer shoes, designer suits. He was still looking for how to live expensive life. I knew his convictions were not genuine. And I knew he will not last. He is back to where he was.
Now, hey, join me. I said, this one. You can listen to this over and over and over again. Dr. Abel Damina, I almost called him Mr. His followers would have ate me raw. Or they would have eaten me raw, rather. Let's applaud this. See, this is true. And when J. Israel came out and he was saying so many good things about Abel Damina, how that is a father with a large heart, how that is he has found a spiritual father, this, that. Wow. I saw the post. I scratched my head. But then I didn't know that it got to this point. I thought, now what Abel Damina just said about J. Israel is true. It's true. We cannot doubt it. See, Jay was so manipulative and Jay was so proud. Jay was not going to tone himself down. Jay was not going to cut his coat according to his clothes. Jay was still going to maintain that former lifestyle of his. And is, this thing was like somebody that needed a house. And me, the place I'm living, I know how much I'm paying. And this person doesn't have money. And where the house was gotten for him was in the highbrow, areas of Lagos, Lekki. And the money that was needed for his own apartment was more than times 2 of where I'm living. I decided, no, I won't be part of it, because what if you do it now? Next year again, you will. I said, no, I won't be part of it. And a certain young man too was looking for an apartment, and people were to gather the money for him to pay. But where his choice, where he placed his hand, he could not afford the rent. People were to pay for him. And some of the persons who gathered to assist him in, paying the rent, some of them lived in 1-bedroom apartment, 1 bedroom, not room and parlor, 1-bedroom apartment. And they are asking him, they asked him, why not look for something that is more proportionate that you can even afford after we have paid the rent? It was like, I came from such and such size of an apartment, and you want me to go lower. Is it promotion or what? Now, man, you've got to cut your coat according to your clothes. And that is very, very important. That is very, very vital. When people don't do this, are you listening to me, young man? Now, this will help you in life. If you are a pastor, you are, the way I'm looking at you, the way you are also looking at me now, it's like you have an ambition of being a pastor. And the Bible says if you have that desire, you wish to be a bishop, it is not a bad thing. But there are things you must not learn, including what people are doing. The soap opera thing has raised a lot of things. And that is why we saw this video. Because if somebody did not resurrect suddenly, and, spoke out against his former mentor, father in the Lord, that he probably would have wanted to come to you to come and sleep in his house, live in his house. I know sometimes those desires are real, but if you have not actually dealt with that part of you that is so humongous in desire, so big, you've not, the bloated flesh, if you have not dealt with it, it is a problem. You cannot, last. And that was actually what happened to J. Israel. Did he go back? Of course, yes. Now he has gone back. Now he's even defending Jeremiah Omoto of all people. Yes, J. Israel is defending Jeremiah Omoto Fufeyin. And in fact, the video he made was because of Jeremiah Omoto Fufeyin, that Abel dare touched him. And I guess maybe Jeremiah is, pumping him money. That one has money now. And if Jay doesn't speak to protect this business empire, that is why will Abel Damina and the rest of others want to crash this empire? Because if anything happens to this empire, it will affect some persons who probably are living off this. I don't know if you are getting me. Am I shouting? Okay. So you can hear me, right? Very good. So if if J. Israel doesn't work hard to protect this empire that is at risk now, something terrible will happen. That is just the truth. You get it. If you get it, fine. If you don't get it, I don't know who will help you. But try and get it, okay? All right. So let's go there again. Let's move. Continue listening.
Because Brother Paul says, if you're going to preach the message of Christ, look at it. 1 Timothy chapter 6. Let's read it. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 3. Put it up for me. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 3. PJ, read for me.
If any man teach otherwise and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Jesus Christ, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness.
Next verse.
He is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings.
Next verse.
Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself.
Supposing. So when people come into this message and they suppose that gain is godliness, that's where the problem. Give me the message of verse 5. The Message translation. Pay attention. The Message translation of verse 5.
Eventually, there's an epidemic of backstabbing, and truth is but a distant memory. They think religion is a way to make a fast buck.
He didn't say that. Give me verse 4 and 5. Message. Tag them for what they are. Ignorant windbags who infect the air with germs of envy, controversy, bad mouthing, suspicious rumors. Next verse. Eventually, there's an epidemic of backstabbing, and truth is but a distant memory. They think religion is a way to make a fast buck. They think gain is godliness. Look at the next verse. Verse 6. Read for me, PJ.
A devout life does bring wealth, but it's the rich simplicity of being yourself before God.
The rich simplicity of being yourself before God. Next verse.
Since we entered the world penniless and will leave it penniless.
Next verse.
If we have bread on the table and shoes on our feet, that's enough.
Bread on the table, shoes on our feet, that's enough. You must cut down your appetite if you're going to preach this message. You must cut down your appetite. You must develop contentment. A preacher that cannot develop contentment cannot preach this message. He will be going to and fro. And you will see his mouth full of stories, because sometimes you have to tell too many stories to get people to give you money. But when you stay with this message, you must cut down on your appetite. There's a guy in South Africa who started following my ministry, and I was talking with him recently, when I went to South Africa, and he said to me, Papa, I have slowed down my preaching. I have even told my church to go. I have closed my church down. I want to deal with my appetite, because if I don't deal with my appetite, it will be difficult for me to preach this message. So right now, I'm not pastoring. I'm dealing with my appetite, because I have a huge appetite. If you observe, one of the things Benny Hinn said, and I'm sorry to call the name, but it's out there anyway. One of the things he said keeps taking him back to the materialistic gospel, and he will repent and go back. He said there's too much pressure. His bills have to be paid. So when you create a monster of a lifestyle, then it becomes difficult for you to live without that monster. So now you have to use Bible to be raising money to sustain that monster. So the first thing you must do to prove that you have understood the Christ message is that you will cut down on your appetite. Are we teaching here? Yeah. You must overcome covetousness. You must overcome covetousness. You must overcome greed. You must overcome long throat. You must come to a place of discipline where you're contented. That's the first thing, because this message is consecration, and it will try every area of your life. And you must pass the exam. If you don't pass the exam, there will be trouble. It will first of all work on your appetite. That's the first thing it does. That's what it did to me. It dealt with me, dealt with my appetite. And over a period of years, it has proven my genuine intention. And I'm not moved at all. I'm not moved. And because I'm contented, I'm satisfied. That's when you can preach this message. Am I communicating it? That's when you can preach this message. Where you now are able to abound and abase. Where you know how to enjoy when it is there, and how to endure when it is not there. So whichever state you find yourself, you're contented. Until you get to that point. See, if in ministry you are still trying to prove a point, you can't preach this message. If you are still trying to prove a point, you must come to the end of yourself where you're proving nothing. In fact, we preach not ourselves, but Christ and him crucified. So we have nothing we are trying to protect. Am I communicating that? It is when you come there that you can preach this message in his purity. Otherwise,
now, one thing I don't know is if this was a ministers' conference. If it was a ministers' conference, oh, forgive me. I think the emphasis on preaching is, would be okay. But at the same time, I think that this is a normal service time, because the same Bible reader, even though I don't know if she's a minister as well, because if she's a minister, probably she would allowed to be there. She would be there. And nobody is actually barred from any meeting so long as it is gospel. Also, I don't know about, what is obtained in other ministries. But what I'm looking at is that, the title of the message is consecration. And, the members don't need to, they are not pastors, but that does not take away anything from the point that he is hitting here. Now, you see, I will end it here. But what I'm trying to say is that, completely, you see, contentment, godliness with contentment, the Bible says is of great gain. I hope you are hearing me. I hope you are listening to me. Godliness with contentment is of great gain. If we have meal and raiment, we have food and clothes and a shelter over our head, And these are not things that we should force. The Bible talking about modesty, you see, used to women because naturally women seem to, have more tendencies to be flashy and to go for things, even when they cannot afford it. Some of them will put pressure on their husbands. But these days we have seen also that there are perverted men that want to compete, with others. If you cannot afford Gucci because somebody is wearing Gucci belt, you want to steal, manipulate, do all kinds of things to get Gucci so that you will also appear on Instagram looking polished, looking polished. And you say you're a pastor. Huh? Who taught you? Did J. Israel mentor you? See, I am trying to be very, very clear on what I'm telling you now. If you venture on that lane, you will not last. You will not last. And once you fall, you will become an apologetic to persons like, is it 2 or 4? Persons like Jeremiah Omotofufen, Hubert Angel, Shepherd Bushiri, even Alf Lukau. Who else? Okay, you can borrow me the other names. Add them here. Now, if your motivation is to drive flashy cars, don't ever near pulpit or else you become a false prophet. Your motivation is to wear the best of shoes. In those days, I don't think, right, God has helped us. So there was a time that these fake people, my God, it was like a competition. Wickedness everywhere. Terrible evil. And they were competing who will outdo, who will outmuzzle the other. So there was that ego head belt. What's the name of that company? That belt alone in those days, I don't know of now. Can buy a portion of land in some places here and build a house. So they were all donning it ego head. What is the name of that company? I've forgotten because I did a research on that. Even when people say that it was a cult, it's not a cult. It's just like, it's not a cult symbol, anything. Just like Gucci, their symbol, Adidas, all of that. But that one, they said that belt was of crocodile skin. Very expensive. Look how we wear it. Others, even there was one prophet in Namibia. I don't want to use the word that came to my mouth now. It's not that came to my mind now. So Satan, I rebuke you. Get out. I will not use it. But the man seemed to be physically challenged, but living large. So sometimes you even need to ask yourself, how is it possible that these people will use word to manipulate? But I remember that Songoma said that they used to give them muti, charms, to make people do whatever they say. But some of them is not actually muti. Some of them is manipulation. Some persons like our guy that we are talking about featured in this video now, so manipulative with words that people, he's a likable person. People loved him. People liked him. People were ready and willing to sacrifice for him. But what he was getting that time was simply not enough to fund his appetite that time. And talking about appetite and toning it down. See, there are things you will start that you may not be able to finish. There was a time somebody who loved my daughter and, I would say, okay, loved me, loved my family. And that love kind of was so great. Genuine love. So at the age of my daughter, he was like, oh, I will be paying such and such amount of dollar every month to take care of her, her creams, began to name things I didn't even know existed, cleanser and all that. When she sent the first money, I called my wife. I said, please come. See, this person meant well, but I don't want to fashion my life on this level. I cannot expose my daughter to the things that I know if this person stops, I will not be able to continue. And then it will affect the girl, and she may want to continue doing it because she has gotten used to it. So there are certain things we may not get for her. Let's get for her the things that I know if this flow stops, me can conveniently carry on my cross. My wife agreed. She got for my daughter the necessary things. And eventually that supply, I don't think that it came a second time. And even in the process of time, 2 of them came. That they were going to, once she finished her secondary school. I don't know what people call it there. Secondary school, then university. I think some country they call it college, higher institution. They work for her. She will come overseas, and wow, good news. But I calmed the nerves of everybody. I said, please calm down. This promise is coming from human. Human may fail, but not God. Had it came from God and God spoke it, man, I can take it anywhere. But I can use it and go and withdraw money from bank because it is real. Now, you need to ask me if those people still call me on phone today. So that is it. Now, you don't need to build an appetite that will be difficult for you to tame. Because no matter how much you have grown, and this is very important for us as Christians, so that we don't make mistake and fall into the hands of the devil. The devil is a trickster. He is a trickster. He's a terrible manipulator. So Abel Damina, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. God bless you. God bless you. I agree, 100%. Well, anyway, people, I will stop it here. I will await. But mind you, let me put a disclaimer. This is the message I said 100% to. Now, the other message of just believe in Christ and it doesn't matter anymore. You go to heaven. My hand is not there. I'm not. They hear me. Are you listening to me? I've not said you should go. See, don't join any other person to say that the elder in heaven that called Jesus Lion of the tribe of Judah was confused too. Don't say that the angel that came to tell the apostles of Christ that this same Jesus, who was taken away from them in the like manner he was taken away, that he will come back in the same manner. That the angel was not sure of what he was saying. Don't join anybody to say that those that wrote the Old Testament were mentally agitated. See, God is loving. Our Father in heaven is a just God and he loves. But at the same time, he is a consuming fire. The same God that loves is the same God that judges. So if we misbehave, if we sell our birthright, and Apostle Paul profusely was begging us and saying that we should not be like Esau, who for a morsel of bread, sold his birthright. And when he needed it, he sought for it with tears. And unfortunately, too late for him. Do you know what that is likened to? When some persons will stand before Jesus on that day and will say, Lord, 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 I did so much in your name. But they sold their birthright in the dark room of evil lifestyle. In the dark room of evil, they denied Jesus. Hey, may God help me. In the dark room of evil, they denied Jesus. And the Lord will say, yeah, you did those things in iniquity. And in fact, I didn't even knew you existed because I never knew you. May that not be your portion. Young man, are you hearing me? Lady, hold your ears. This is it. Whether you like me or not, the day cometh when you will know that I have told you nothing but the truth. I stand to lose or gain anything, nor gain anything from you by telling you the truth. All right? So you hating me doesn't take anything away from me. This thing I'm saying now is breaking your heart. You are afraid because you are not living the Christian life. If you are living the Christian life, did you listen to Apostle Odoma yesterday? That there is the grace that has for salvation that has appeared unto all men. But the teaching grace to abstain from wickedness and be zealous unto good works is for those that have been saved. Grace, the same grace, able to do two things. One, it's the one that saves. Secondly, the one that teaches. Of course, I've made mention of that here often and often and often, several times, but you will choose not to listen to that. Well, I am done. God bless you. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, shalom.